So you may be wondering, where has John and Elias been from the Groove and Grit show? Did they lose their groove? Did they lose their grit? Elias, where have we been?
I don't know. Maybe we lost a little bit of groove, like all the South Florida teams. Maybe a little bit of grit, like the Great Panthers. Nah, but we're here.
We here. Hey, we just got a lot. We got a lot going on at the same time. The other thing is too, full disclosure, we've actually recorded 2 other episodes, full-length episodes. Actually, one was about an hour and 50 minutes long.
Yeah, such a good episode.
And of course, as newbies to podcasting that we are, we had a bit of a tech snafu, and instead of exporting and pushing out content that didn't sound as good, we figured, you know what, let's do it right. And here we are. Elias, how you doing, man?
Best for the fans. Best for the fans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, man? How's everything going?
Good. Rocking the great old Tannehill jersey. No, 17 Waddle.
Well, does it have a name in the back?
Yes, it says Tannehill, the great legend.
You know, you could. I think you could actually get that replaced.
I'm gonna put a tape on it and just leave the hill part.
Just put some white gaff tape or whatever, and with a big marker, just put Waddle.
Dude, no, I have the Waddle patch.
Okay. Yeah, just re-sew it on there or whatever.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Since we've been too busy,
Well, there's been a lot going on in the world of South Florida sports. Also in our own personal world. Elias, you're about to be a dad, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So you're about to be part of that dad club. So, but besides that, we've got a lot that is happening. Baby. Yeah, man. We've got a lot going on. I mean, since the last episode that we recorded, which I'm trying to think back to the last episode that was published. Yeah. But since then, we've had a lot of things happen, such as the Tampa Bay Lightning reaching the Stanley Cup final. Obviously, the Florida Panthers coaching change. We've had situations with the Dolphins as well. The Miami Heat getting eliminated in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Wow, it's been that.
It's been that long.
Jeez.
It's really been that long. It's been a while. So once again, we apologize for not having gotten content out there, but we're here, and that's what matters. So hey, let's talk about a couple things here. Let's talk about a couple things here. First of all, Elias, we've got I think it's just under 75 days till the Miami Dolphins season started. And since you're wearing I was about to say a Waddle jersey, a Tannehill jersey, talk to me a little bit about our Dolphins and stuff, like some of the recent things that have been happening and that we're going to be looking towards.
Oh yeah, so of course the whole thing that's been going on right now is the whole Hill, what he said about Pat and the whole Tua thing. I think a lot of people have a misconception of what he's trying to say. Is he's not saying that Pat is not good. Of course, nobody's ever going to say that because he is really. Oh my God, he's an amazing talent. But what he's trying to say, first of all, he's trying to defend his new quarterback. 1, 2, he's not lying when it comes to Tua. Tua hasn't panned out to be what we wanted it to be, but Tua was known as the most accurate quarterback coming out of Alabama. His accuracy is there, but also when he was throwing the ball to people that couldn't catch the ball. Highest drop rate. Welcome to the Dolphins, baby. But they've been looking good. A couple of training camps, OTAs, minicamp. Javon Holland has been leading a lot of. He's been rocking the orange jersey. As McDaniel has been doing this thing where best person in OTAs and then mini training camp, wears the orange jersey. You've had Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, a sleeper, their defensive line.
Bro, Zach Sealer's a freaking beast.
Oh yeah,
he's a tank. This dude wrestles cows for a living.
That's what he reminds me of.
Casey Hayward. That's a good one. Yeah. The dude literally wrestles cows at his ranch in Okeechobee.
Yeah. Hey, I think is it Zach Sealer? I think Zach
it's Sealer.
Out of a camper.
Yeah, it's him. He has a ranch. I think it's in Okeechobee, or it might be like south of Belglade area, but he has a ranch.
because I think they were doing an interview with him. It was like, so you make money and you don't want to buy it? No, I'm okay with my camper. So I was like, oh,
that's going to come in clutch later down the road, when he's retired.
Okay. But McDaniel, even Coach McDaniel defended Tua. Tua has a whole different demeanor, attitude, a good confidence.
He's got a chip on his shoulder,
which is good.
Which is
good.
I mean,
it could be
he already had
really bad, really
yeah.
good, and really bad. Because if he doesn't show with what he was talking back, like basically, hey, let the game do your talking instead of because at certain points you only can do so much. You know what I mean?
The other thing is too, like he has this. He's always had a chip on his shoulder, especially with coming back from the injury. I remember there was a interview that was done or that he gave regarding Nick Saban and like how Nick Saban was so pissed after Tua gave up that sack in the national championship game. I think that was in 2017, and how even after Tua on the next play would throw the game-winning touchdown pass, Saban was still pissed.
Yeah.
But I mean, that even in itself shows Tua's tenacity and his just total grit about how he reacts to a situation. Like literally, when something bad happens, he doesn't mope around. He essentially focuses on what he has to do next.
If anybody who has seen and watched the Dolphins play this past season, you kind of expected Tua to throw at least one pick in a game. At least you expected it.
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those throws that was like, it's just one of those whatever. But every single time he would come back and have this great drive, do what he had to do. And there were certain games that he showed, like after the whole Tennessee thing, the fight with Flores, like just everything that the Dolphins went through and he went through. Like it's not easy as a person, but I'm happy. I'm happy with the Dolphins. I'm happy with what is yet to come. I'm not getting my hopes up. Just keeping it cool.
That sounds like me right now with.
That sounds like a Dolphins fan for having me.
Yeah, but that's also me with the Panthers. So, like as you know, we did not retain Andrew Burnett as our head coach, which I feel like was the right move because I mean it was his first time, and again, I think he was on a don't screw it up mode with the management of the team and everything. And so, like,
he had a lot of missing grit, specifically him just standing like this.
Which is weird because, like, Andrew Burnett's playing style when he was a player, I mean, he was the grinder. He was that power forward grinder type of player that would essentially get in the middle of the traffic. He would just basically cause a disruption in front of the net and whatnot. But I think it's different playing because you can have somewhat of a passive demeanor. As a player, but still go out and play extremely gritty and extremely tenacious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he definitely lacks certain areas of being able to adjust on the fly. Some of the things that I like that he did do was kind of not try to change everything once Joel Quenneville resigned. Although I will say, Paul Maurice, he was the. You asked me actually, like, what does this mean? Like, please tell me this is a good addition. I will say Paul Maurice is one of the more experienced coaches of the NHL. I think I had given you the example of he's kind of like what Dave Wannstedt was when the Dolphins hired him. Although I was just thinking about that, and that's really not a good comparable. I would say it's more of a what's the guy? He's the say again.
Joe Philbin.
No, he's not a Joe Philbin type because Joe Philbin didn't have any experience as a head coach when he came to the Dolphins. This is a guy that, Paul Maurice has been a head coach. His first head coaching gig was at the age of 29 in 1995 with the then Hartford Whalers, which eventually became the Carolina Hurricanes. But no, Paul Maurice is kind of like that dude. Okay, so Leslie Frazier. Or actually, not Leslie Frazier. It's the guy who is Lovie Smith, the guy who's a head coach for the Texans.
Yeah.
He's kind of like now. Here's the thing with Lovie Smith. He's kind of been out of the head coaching area for a while, so that's not even a good perfect example. But again, it's such an individual specialized thing. Although I will say, I think in his press conference he mentioned a few things that was very telling, such as, "Hey, we got to figure out how to play like we need to play in the playoffs because come playoff time, these stretch passes and all these rush chances are not going to happen." And that was the biggest thing that killed the Panthers was that the way they play in the regular season did not work in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and really
Yeah.
does not work in the playoffs
Uh-huh.
unless you're playing against, Edmonton or Calgary, who
Yeah.
simply could not defend to save their life for whatever reason in certain moments.
Well, for some reason, we always run into the Tampa Bay Lightning every since we
Yeah.
make the playoffs. And when you're playing against Tampa, you have to be able to play a certain way.
Well, and the incredible thing about Tampa Bay, which right now, as we record this podcast, Tampa Bay was down 3-1 in the series. And last night, I'm doing this yard project outside at night because Lord knows you can't do yard projects in South Florida in the middle of the day. So it's like 10:30 at night, and I'm over here messing around with mulch. But I got the TV outside going, and like I'm thinking, okay, this is the day that the dynasty of the Tampa Bay Lightning is done with. I'm sweating bullets. I'm getting dirty. I got stung by something outside. I couldn't figure out what it was. But I'm like, yep, this is where the Tampa Bay dynasty ends. And wouldn't you believe, Andre Palat, 7th-round draft pick from I don't know what year, scores the game-winning goal shortly before the end of regulation. I think it was like 2 minutes left in regulation when he scored, or 3.5 or something of that nature. And essentially that's what happened, is that the Tampa Bay Lightning found a way to win in the altitude, which I think what happened game 2 in the Stanley Cup final is how, because the Tampa Bay Lightning had to play 2 straight games in Colorado, it probably messed them up. The altitude. I mean, the altitude messes up anybody who goes to Colorado. But imagine you get there, you're probably okay for the first little bit, but then afterwards, if you have to play another game in that, man, that's rough. That's rough to play in that.
Oh yeah, I remember my time when I went to Denver. Just anywhere with high altitude.
Oh
it's
yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember we played basketball once. I played it was the 5th point, and I was like, bro, what is going on? Like,
yeah, no,
your breathing is like,
it's terrible.
So I understand. I understand that thing, but now Colorado, they're back at home.
Yeah,
3-2. They're up 3-2.
Well, no, now they're going back to Tampa on Sunday. They play in Tampa on Sunday.
Tampa. They lost their game,
and so I don't know. I think this is gonna go 7.
Hopefully, it doesn't.
If Colorado does not win in Tampa on Sunday,
you think they're losing?
They're not going to win the series. I guarantee you that. Vasilevsky, I don't know how the dude does it. He's looked like garbage at some games, and then he's got games where he's like a brick wall. So, like, I don't know. If Colorado doesn't win on Sunday, I really think that it's Tampa Bay. 3 straight Stanley Cups. And really, to me, this would be the first legitimate Stanley Cup because the previous 2 are the COVID years, and they're kind of weird. Like,
I tell you this, with the whole thing that's going on in the NHL with our coach and all that stuff, like, the Panthers have to figure out, like, what are we going to do with re-signings? Are we going to trade?
We've got a lot to figure out, and Bill Zito mentioned that, and I think this is where the Paul Maurice signing as a head coach makes perfect sense. Bill Zito mentioned that we've got a lot of challenges coming up, and part of that is figuring out how we're going to be able to re-sign some of the guys we currently have, such as the Mason Marchments of the world, Claude Giroux. They've also got a situation in which they have to decide whether or not they can keep some of the lower role players, such as Mammon and some of the other guys, who are all in expiring contracts. And, like, as much as I would love to be able to re-sign Giroux, I don't think we just can, And then at the same time, we've got the albatross of a contract with Sergei Bobrovsky, which Bobrovsky finally lived up to that contract for the first time since coming here. And, like, I don't know. Like, what do you do in this situation?
Well, I've been reading reports that they're going to move Bobrovsky.
I know, but that's all privy to, like, I actually put out a possible situation in which the Panthers could do some type of a 3-way trade that would involve Patrick Hornquist, which is also another player that I don't think we can retain because of his salary. I mean, really, we took on Hornquist's salary when we traded Mike Matheson back in, I think it was like 2018 or something like that, and that was also going to be a problem. So like, but there's a situation if Bobrovsky would be willing to waive his no trade clause in his contract. If Bobrovsky would waive it, then a team that needs a goaltender right now, Edmonton Oilers. So hear me out. My proposition to the Edmonton Oilers, and actually to the Winnipeg Jets as well, because it would require, I don't see how any team would be willing to take on the full responsibility of a Bobrovsky contract. If we were to involve a three-way trade, and I tweeted this on the page, I think it was a Bobrovsky to Edmonton along with Patrick Hornquist, who would go to Winnipeg. In exchange, now here's another thing. Blake Wheeler, who's a power forward type player for the Winnipeg Jets, expressed his desire to get traded. Paul Maurice going to the Panthers is actually an interesting situation because we might be able to, bring in Wheeler in that sense. And so if that were to happen, like there's a plausible scenario in which we would acquire Blake Wheeler while at the same time trading away at least 50% of Bobrovsky's contract. I think 50% of that Edmonton would take on. We would retain the other 50%, which to me isn't exactly a great deal either because, I mean, it's a 10-year contract, dude. It was a 10-year, it's a 7-year, $10 million a year contract.
What do you, so you're, in other words, you're talking about we're in a Baker Mayfield situation right
now? Not that terrible, but 50%. It's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close. But
it's the same thing with the Heat now. Heat and Panthers are in the same exact boat.
Yeah.
It comes to written contracts and they're in the same exact boat.
Well, that's another thing. The Heat, I think, have to figure out what they want to do with Duncan Robinson because I think Duncan Robinson is the biggest. Yeah, he's the guy that they got to figure out what they want to do with.
You have the same person in Max Strus.
I think Max is better though.
Can defend and drives a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Max Strus, I think it has a higher ceiling than Duncan.
Yeah. I really like the guy they drafted, by the way. Nikola Jovic.
Bro, 6'11", with a nice wingspan. My man can shoot.
And he's a playmaker.
But this is where I come again. Is Miami getting these pieces? What is it worth if the dang head coach is not willing to move him out of the 5?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of it? Like, you have, all right, let's say you don't re-sign Devin. You bring in Yurtseven, which Yurtseven is a dog, right? I understand. Supposedly there's talk also about PJ Tucker. He declined his option, so he's a free agent. There's a huge possibility that he might sign with us, but he has other teams as well. So it's going to be a battle for him. But, of course, he might take us, And then you have the possibility of probably luring Kevin Durant over to us or a Kyrie Irving. Because Kyrie Irving is said that he wants to be out. So the teams that are right now with Kyrie Irving, Lakers, Clippers.
Yeah, I did see that.
Heat.
I don't know if I want that.
But now listen to this. You come in a situation where you trade Kyle Lowry to the Nets for Kyrie Irving. Almost the same amount of contract. You get a younger guy. The Nets get Kyle Lowry on an expiring contract. Not an expiring contract, but just an older player that still has a couple years in his contract, right? So now you have a Kyrie, a Jimmy Butler, a Bam, Yurtseven, or you got a Tyler Hero. Have we seen the last of Tyler Hero in Miami? We don't know.
That's another thing. Tyler Hero is an interesting guy because he's got a lot of things that remind me of like a Manu Ginobili.
Mm.
The problem I see with
Manu.
Yeah, no, he's like a Manu Ginobili type of player. Although I think Ginobili was more no, I mean Hero has been clutch too.
Ginobili was, oh man.
Man, but this is what I'm saying. Like Ginobili was a sixth man type of guy. Like if Hero could model his game after a Manu Ginobili type.
But Hero's already comparing. He's already complaining about not starting. But everybody has seen it. Every single time he starts, he's not good.
Yeah.
He has seen it. But what can you do? Hero hasn't.
Brother, yo no sé, seguir orando para que las cosas vayan como tienen que salir.
We'll talk about two positive things that are going on right now.
Yeah.
One, the Marlins are only, 4 or 5 games
out of 500?
That's like the fact
that's a miracle, bro.
Record, but the fact that that's a good thing.
Sandy Alcantara is looking amazing.
But, oh my, dude, we have 10 games, 10 blown saves.
Yeah.
10 blown. We'll be in second place in the East right now because the Mets are ridiculous right now. Congrats! The Astros did a combined no hitter too today against the Yankees.
Dad.
But also, and then now we got Inter Miami. We'll play tonight.
Yeah, which you're going to a game tonight, and you're going to be giving us a little bit of an exclusive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna try to talk to Pepita, see if he talks.
Decirle el pecho frío que haga algo.
I mean, like, how does it feel to be replaced by somebody who's 10, 15 years younger than you?
Yeah, that's crazy. No, but that's cool. I'm over here repping my Real Madrid jersey. It's a Ronaldo jersey. I know you're a Barca guy, but Real Madrid, we got another Champions League, which I think right before I think the last time we published a episode, I think there was a few days after that was the Champions League final.
You know what's crazy too? Yeah. I was reading a stat about Spanish teams in major trophies. Any Spanish team, from Spain, that has gone in against any team in a major trophy, the Spanish team has always won. They're 17-0.
Wow! Except that the couple years that Atletico made it to the final and played Real Madrid. That's like the only time. But you're right. Like but when a Spanish team still won. Yeah, I mean that was like a double negative.
Dude, like I was like, listen. I was thinking about that. I was like, so automatically, as soon as the Spanish team makes the final, they're going against a random team. You can be like, the Spanish team is winning.
That's true, though. I'm thinking of previous like Champions League teams, and like I can't remember.
Liverpool Madrid a couple of years back. Real Madrid won with the Sergio Ramos, with the Mohamed Salah.
That's crazy. But I will say though, Real Madrid. Gareth Bale, you had mentioned, is coming to the U.S.
LAFC. Yep, and LAFC, which Chiellini is in the LAFC again too.
Look at that, Chiellini. Yeah, but
all in all, moves, and we got the World Cup coming up. Oh my gosh, it's a good time to be alive. Yeah. But now, like you were mentioning, I don't know if David Beckham's new stadium is going to be large enough, but
I will say though. It is an incredible thing for the World Cup to be here in Miami. I think I'm going to try to do everything I can to be able to at least go to one of those games.
Do you think the final should be in Monterrey or Mexico City? Or was the last two World Cup finals?
Have they announced where the finals would be?
No, but Argentina won the final in the US. And I think Brazil won the other one.
No, backwards. Brazil won the one that was here, and then Argentina won the one that was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still remember the one I was watching on YouTube, the old school Rose Bowl. That I was like, dude. Everybody was like, oh, they're going to get the Rose Bowl in there. I'm like, no.
I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to have the final. I mean, the final is going to be in the U.S. Let's be real. The final will be in the U.S. Third place game. I would be shocked
if it's not Las Vegas. Las Vegas or Los Angeles.
To me, yeah, those are the two options. I think it's either going to be in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. I think the third place game. Yeah, Stadium? Absolutely. I think the third place game might be in Azteca, but
probably. What's the Raiders stadium? What's their Emirates?
Oh man, is it our Reliant? No,
it starts with an A. I gotta see. But that stadium, that new stadium, that's
bro.
Like that's Las Vegas. Like, but what can I tell you, bro?
Anyway, hey, I'm going to let you go because I know you got to head to the game, but this has been the Groove and Grit Show. Again, we're going to continually come out with more content, so we would really appreciate if you would continually Support us by subscribing, liking, sharing. Anything that you do in that matter helps us out a ton. So again, Elias, look forward to our next episode together, and also with some solo content that you and I are going to be doing.
Oh yeah,
which is going to be great. So
look out.
You guys could be on the lookout for that. So all right, guys, we'll see you next time.